Hello. When France declared war on Britain on the 1st of February 1793, the Royal Navy was prepared. Resources, up to 25% of national expenditure, had in recent years been concentrated on Britain's maritime defence capability. In France, the revolution had removed many experienced officers, and Brittany, where most of their seamen were recruited, was the least republican province in France. Admiral Samuel Hood, Commander-in-Chief of the Mediterranean Fleet, took control of Toulon harbour for 4 months, burning the French ships before evacuating the port. He then led a successful naval campaign to expel the French from Corsica. In 1794, in an action that became known as the Glorious 1st of June, Admiral Richard Howe, in command of the Channel Fleet, encountered a French squadron escorting grain ships from America. Despite being slightly outnumbered, Howe took advantage of a following wind to sail through the French line before turning to inflict a crushing defeat in an engagement fought at close range. While on land, the French army were carrying all before them. The Royal Navy's command of the sea prevented an invasion of England. When Spain joined the war on the French side in 1796, Admiral John Jervis, newly in charge of the Mediterranean fleet, was sent to prevent the Spanish fleet meeting up with their French allies. Arriving at Gibraltar, Jervis chose HMS Victory as his flagship. In February 1797, a Spanish squadron of 24 ships was sighted off Cape St. Vincent, the most southwesterly tip of Portugal. With just 15 ships, among them Horatio Nelson in command of HMS Captain, Jervis was seriously outnumbered but sailed to intercept, splitting the Spanish line before engaging at close quarters, capturing 4 vessels and forcing a Spanish retreat. Nelson in particular distinguished himself in the battle, earning a knighthood and becoming a household name. He had already lost his right eye at the siege of Calvi during the invasion of Corsica. In 1798, a large French convoy had left Toulon for Alexandria, carrying an expeditionary force under Napoleon Bonaparte, intending to invade Egypt en route to join Tipu Sultan's campaign against British positions in India. Nelson, now promoted to Rear Admiral, had orders to pursue and prevent whatever was being planned. Unsure of Napoleon's destination, the cat and mouse chase in the Mediterranean took more than 2 months before Napoleon landed his army at Abu Qir Bay near Alexandria, a strong defensive position. When Nelson arrived, he split his fleet in 2, one division sailing between the shore and the anchored French fleet, the other forming a line to seaward. Caught in the ensuing crossfire, the French flagship Orient exploded. Of 17 French ships, only 4 managed to escape back to sea. The stranded French army were forced to abandon any designs on India. In an effort to prevent supplies reaching France, Britain claimed the right to search ships belonging to other nations. In 1800, Russia, Sweden, Norway and Denmark together agreed an armed neutrality pact, refusing to allow their ships to be stopped and searched. Denmark closed its ports to British vessels. The loss of America made the Baltic a vital source of naval resources, such as timber for masts and hemp for rope. In 1801, Admiral Edmond Hyde Parker, with Nelson as his second in command, was sent to resolve the issue. Finding a large fleet of Danish and Norwegian warships anchored at Copenhagen, Nelson attacked. With the harbour protected both by shore defences and floating gun batteries, the fighting was heavy. Some of the British ships ran aground, and seeing distress flags hoisted, Admiral Parker flew the retreat signal, a prearranged tactic allowing Nelson to withdraw if necessary without falling foul of the Articles of War and risking censure. This is when the famous incident took place of Nelson putting his telescope to his blind eye. The Royal Navy's superior firepower prevailed. Nelson landed and a peace deal was agreed. While Nelson was negotiating with the Danes, Admiral Parker encountered the Swedish fleet, who retreated to port. After an initial attempt to persuade Sweden to leave the pact failed, Parker returned to Copenhagen, a decision frowned upon by the Admiralty, who recalled him to England and put Nelson in charge in the Baltic. Nelson sailed for the Gulf of Finland to deal with the Russian fleet, but the assassination of Tsar Paul in March 1801 resulted in Russia leaving the Armed Neutrality Pact without the need for action. The widely celebrated Treaty of Amiens, signed in 1802, brought an all too brief period of peace between the end of the French Revolutionary and the start of the Napoleonic Wars in 1803. That conflict will be my topic next time. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons and click on the notification bell to be informed when the next video is available, or you can subscribe by clicking on the rose window over my shoulder.